Hello, good evening, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. Just getting my phone set up so that I can make sure the stream is going as expected. All right. Cool. All right. So, kind of had to drag myself out of the bed. Not that I was sleeping, but I'll be blunt. I'm just very anxious for what's going to be happening in our country over the next month or so. I want to have hope, but I'm just feeling the stress and the strain like probably a lot of Americans are. And I was talking to my older son yesterday when we were coming home from self-defense. We go to a karate dojo once a week for a lesson, and excuse me. And he's basically said, he goes, I just can't. And he goes, and I don't worry about it. He goes, I've already voted. He goes, I've done what I can. You could say, well, you could do more. You could go out and talk to people. You could send mailers. You can do all this stuff. But like he said, at the end of the day, he's done what he's supposed to do, which is vote. And he said he goes, whatever happens after that, life keeps going on. And part of me thinks it's a little naive because I fear for what would happen if things don't go the way I hope they do. But he's also got a point. And, it just, there's things that are stressing me out. And I decided to pour a peanut butter beer, peanut butter stout, which I really actually do like. And I said, let's just do something to get my mind off of stuff. Let's do a stream. I was planning on doing it anyway, but I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to see how far I can get with this feature and hopefully don't get stressed out over this and just have some fun. So the idea is, and again, if you don't know what I'm doing here, this is a library I've created called Rocks, where you basically use this source generator to generate a mock of a type. And this all happens at compile time, actually, which is different than other libraries. Mocking libraries that are there in .NET. So what this thing is this idea of, excuse me, Rocks basically creates all of the code based on the type you're targeting. So typically you wouldn't do this rock partial thing. You would just say rock your service, and then what it would do is generate an expectations type using a naming convention. It puts it into the same assembly that that you're in, and so on, or that type is in. And I thought, I have this 335 thing here. This actually I fixed. Yeah, this is a whoops, and I fixed this one. But I still think there's some value and some merit into doing this, which is rather than me dictating the type name, or more to the point, I'm dictating it, but I want to give you the option to choose however you want to do it. And so I thought, maybe this is the way to get out of this, which is to say, you define a type that's partial, you put this on it, and then what I do is I generate the expectation type, and then everything within it doesn't matter, but the expectation type using this name and the namespace that the type is in. And then everything falls in from that. What I've also thought of is maybe what I could also do is say, maybe you want to use a struct instead of a class. So go do that. Maybe you want to actually make the expectation stuff public. You want that exposed for something else, for another library to use. I don't know. Because by default, Rocks generates everything as internal because the thought is, why would you ever need to have that exposed? But this would give you that option. You would just basically declare your attribute, put it on a type, and then this is what would get generated. So it'd be very close and similar to what you do right now in Rocks, but it gives you just that extra little bit of configuration. Okay, so that's what we're going to work on tonight. Let's get the music going. My little personal 4-song repeating over and over again set of instrumentals, stuff that I made before in the past. And I'm hoping over the holiday break, I'm taking 2 weeks off, that I can actually do some recording and just create some instrumental stuff, you know, just something that kind of fill the space in between. So we'll see. You know, vacations are meant to be fun, but that would be fun to me to create new stuff. So first thing is first, we need to have a branch. So let's close that out. Let's make sure that we are not. So let's make a new branch name. And while Rocks is a source generator and therefore targets .NET Standard 2.0, it is actually generating code now that is relying upon .NET 9. So Rocks 9 will technically require you to be targeting .NET 9. If you're not moving to .NET 9 right now, you can just use the latest 8. I think it's 3.1 or something like that. And unless something truly egregious comes up with that feature that you have to use that and you can't go to 9, I would consider, not saying I would, but I would consider maybe making a feature branch and then doing something there, but I really, really don't have the desire to do that. So in any event, Rocks 9 is .NET 9. So how do we do this? So I think I put a list here of some things. We first, and I don't know if this is the greatest name in the world, Rock Partial. I can't use Rock because I already have an attribute named that, and you can't have different attribute usages on your attribute. Meaning, if I go back into here and I go to Rock attribute, you'll see that this has an assembly. Okay, but what you can't do is something like this. You can't say type or class. Is there an interface? Struct? Okay, but the point is you can't do that. Attribute usage itself can only be put on an attribute once. So you can't do that. So I got to come up with a different name. I came up with Rock Partial. So we can add this attribute, and the thing is too is that it would only look, we'd only allow you to do one flag, either a create or a make, because you know that would be your choice. If you also wanted to have a make, there's the create's usually what you're using, but if you want to have a make, then you would just have to declare this again with a different partial class and go off from there. That's your choice. All right, so enough talk. Let's just partial attribute. And I have no idea whether I'm going to be able to get this done tonight. No, I don't want a license. Why are you putting a header file there? Get rid of that stuff. Public sealed class. And let's put this here. And we want to say class or struct. You can't put it in an interface. That we're not going to allow. What are you barking about? Oh, yeah. It has to be derived from attribute. That's fine. Okay. And we're only going to allow multiple is false. Now, this will also have these things on it as well. Okay. So we'll put that over here. Creates a new rock partial attribute. We can do the same thing here. Okay. Use to specify a type dash remark based on the type the attribute is specified on. Or declared with. I don't know what the right term is right now, but I'll go with that for now. Okay, nothing should break because we've just created an attribute that doesn't do anything yet. Now the trick is we got to get into rock generator. Okay. So I was thinking about this before, and let me just check my notes here because I'll be defining a type, attribute per type, only one flag. Yep. So if you gave me a create or a make, then I would just default to create. You can't do both. So we could actually put that in here. We could say block body and say mock type is mock type. And then we will say if build type has flag, create and build type has flag, build type make. This build type is going to be build type create, else this is build type. So we'll put that remark here. Only one flag can be specified. If more than one exists within parameter build type, the value will, can you do property ref? No, you can do param ref here. You can say C build type. You say this dot? No. How do you? I don't know how you do that. C. Or can you do? I thought there was a way to say reference C also. No, that's not it either. When the one exists within build type, the type will default to, and we will say create. All right. So at least we have the behavior defined. Now we come back here, and what we are doing is we are saying where is that used? Give mock information. Yes, because I don't want to do it in here. I mean, because I can only do one for one reason. I think I could say get partial, for lack of a better name. Can I do this combined with get partial? That will not work. Darn it. What is the problem here? The type arguments for... Oh, well, if we don't do this, what does this become? incremental values provider for mock model information. Doesn't like that either. You do have a combine. Why are you saying that doesn't make any sense either. Wait, I'm trying to potentially do too much here. Collect? What does collect do? What does that say for our partial mock types is equal to that? Is there any way to say combine with partial mock types? It doesn't matter, it's the same stuff. The type arguments for method combine incremental values provider why does it? No, I don't want to increase the volume. I want to go to F12. I don't understand why this is a values and this is a value. Because the collect you can't say combine here, could you? Collect and combine with a collect. That works. What does that give you? Well, it just combines those two. That's not really what I wanted. Because a combine is going to basically return an array of that and an array of that. It's not really what I was hoping for. I guess we could do that. The thing that's in the back of my head and why I'm spending so much time on this is because, well, you really shouldn't be doing this. In other words, you shouldn't be declaring a rock attribute at the assembly level for a given type and then also try to use this partial strategy for this as well. You can, this isn't going to stop you from doing that, but that really doesn't make a lot of sense. So what I was trying to do is say, could I combine these two? But actually, the more I think about it, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense. I think the right thing to do is say, collect these, have it do the output here, and then have a register source output with this as well. And let's just see what happens there. Okay, so in this case, we want to have rocks partial attribute. So now here we need to get the type attributes value, but oh, actually no, we don't want to grab the type. No, we do. We need the type because that's saying what we're going to be trying to mock. But what we don't want to do, and this is where I may need to kind of break some things up a little bit here, because I've always assumed the mock type here is what actually gives you the name of the expectations that you're going to build and the namespace, and that it's partial. Because I put that in some notes here. I said we need to know now if it's partial, what its declare accessibility is, what the namespace is, and what the class is. And this information is what we get mock model information from. So I think what I want to do is have create here say, you know, we get the syntax node, and I forget why we do that. Oh, that's for diagnostics. Okay, that's fine. But this is the type to mock. That's the same. In both cases, should be the type to mock. What we also want to add here now is like an I type symbol. Type to glean this shit. This stuff. Expectations. It's not the type. Naming is hard. How many times have I ever said that naming is hard? More than I can probably count. So, what do I want to call this? Expectations information source. I got nothing better off the top of my head, but that will do. Okay. And the only thing we want to use it for is down here. Because what we want to pass into this is we get a type mock model, but then we also get a build type. The type mock model, if I remember right, and I go to my builders, we'll look at create first. So you can see here we say, is it unsafe? That would actually come from the mock type. Sealed class. Well, where'd that come from? You know, when we get to build, we have a type mock model, but you know, that already, how do I say this? The information is a mock model information. If we come down here and we say rock create builder, rock create builder takes a type mock model. So we probably want then in mock model create to pass in the type mock model this thing as well. Because this doesn't influence anything in here. What it will influence though is this expectations information source. Okay, and so what we need to do now is come into here and say I type symbol expectations information source. Okay. Huh. Crap. Because we're also using this for shims. Shims are what I'm building to build these. Like if I have a default interface member, and if I go to my tests here, this will probably explain it the best. So generators, I should have a shim builder generator test. So somewhere in here, we have a get type key, and I have an implementation here. So where do these actually get generated? So you see here we have a shim class that's generated for this, and then we have a shim class generated only for this. And these instances are what are actually passed into an instance. Like if I say, where is that? Somewhere down here, I believe. Okay. Yeah, so these classes are only for these interfaces that we know we need to have those on. And then if I come down here to instance, I say new mock, passing in this. I'm just reminding myself of what I'm doing here. Yes, so the shim, which I would do here, is I knew that up there. So my point is for a mock model, especially here, not here yet. Yes, we need this type. We need this thing here. What is actually that thing? And what did I call it? I called it expectations information, or expectations information source, which is equal to, on the context, the target symbol. Okay. And that's just an I symbol. And so I'm going to assume that that is an I type symbol. Okay. Because I know that the attribute can only be put on a type. So here I can do this. Okay. Hold on just 1 second. Okay. So we pass it in there. And this is for the partial mock information. Okay, sorry. One more thing. I'm just... The thrill of raising a kid in school. Okay, so this gives you the expectations information source, which is the type on there. That's what is... Hold on. All right. Okay. You're probably hearing all the beeps from Discord anyway on this. Focus, Jason. Okay. So this does that, and then when we pass it in here, when we're getting the type mock model, this uses mock model create, kind of because we could get away with it. You know, we said node here, we said shims select, shims is a hash set of type symbols. And where do we get that? Shims are from what we discovered that need to be those interfaces. And so we would use that as well. Actually, see, this is starting to get messy. When you pass it into type mock model, maybe here is where we say null. And then here we would say null. Because we're only going to use this for a specific case. That's the topmost type mock model. Ah, crap. So we pass it in there. That gets passed into that. And then why are you... There. Okay, it went away. Good. All right. So that way in mock model, when we get the type mock model here, what we can do is we can say something like look at mock builder. And specifically when I come up here, if I look at rock create builder, the namespace is what we're grabbing from this. But we can't assume that anymore. We want to have like the namespace and the name, the expectations name. Well, the expectations name that will be the name. Yeah, here we get expectations property name. Where is expectations name being set? Oh, expectations name is... Geez, I did not realize just how messy this is. Well, what I can say here is say if... yeah, I can just pass in... Whoops. I can say if that's not null, then these are going to be based on that. Else they're going to be based on this. And then other things that I want to have names off of, I can also do that as well. Because I may not need a type reference model around for the expectation source. It's really just a way to get the name set up correctly. That's really all I want. So let's do that. Let's say if expectation is not null, else we're going to do it this way. Now, what we're going to say is for our expectations information source type is equal to type reference model. Yeah, just like that. And this is going to be based on that. So that's one thing. So that actually gets namespace name. That actually gets this. Okay. Now we also want something here called is partial. Internal bool is partial. Yep. And so in this case up here, we're going to say this dot is partial is true by default. We're assuming that's going to be partial, so we're going to say it's partial. If you don't do that, that's on you, and then the compiler itself is actually going to yell at you. Okay. We're going to say this is false. Okay. So we got that done. Can you? No. So if we say type declared accessibility. Do we have a... No, we don't. How do we use... We could use this. Yeah, because that's... If I say declared accessibility, that's accessibility. Yeah, so we could get overriding code value, which is weird to call it this, because this is basically just saying what is, you know, get accessibility value, right? I mean, that's really what you're doing. So in the case here, we would say internal string accessibility is equal to get. Okay, and then up here, in this case, we would say this dot accessibility is going to be internal. Because I believe that's what we're doing right now anyway. Yep. Okay. Except in this case, what we're going to do is say this is expectations of get accessibility value with the compilation assembly. Seems like it makes sense. So now we have that. And now the only thing we need left is type kind. And that we could probably get off the type itself, right? But this dot type kind. I think I do trickle that through. I do. But the problem is we want this dot expectations type kind to be this type kind. Here we're going to assume that it's type kind class. And now we're going to say create a read-only property. So I put it probably, where did it put it? There. So now we have all of the information that we need to figure out how to actually generate it. If I go into mock builder here, well, actually, we want to go into raw create builder here. So, the namespace. We need the expectations namespace. One moment. We could have this say string name namespace. Okay. And so what this would do if I can read what the hell I was coding, type namespace. I believe that is actually what actually ends up here. It's the type and then the namespace. This type is a type of namespace, right? Why don't you like that? Oh, fair. Okay. There, cool. So now we can come back up in here. We can say expectations name, and we can say name space. And so then this expectations name space. And then I believe we just do the same thing here. Except that has to be nullable because we don't know, right? That's the problem. Cool. Okay. All right. Making a little bit more progress. We go to Rock Create Builder. We now say this is the expectations namespace. Okay. And that's all we need to do here, I believe. The rest of it just falls out. We are using the name of the type to generate the file name and calling it create. I did say I wanted partial, didn't I? Yes. So I could put here this dot mock type is partial. we would say underscore partial. Well, we would say here an underscore partial, or we're just going to do that. And then we have to put like that. So that way we can say if you wanted to do a partial, we're generating this off of a partial declaration. Sure. Now if we go into mock builder, now this is also where we start doing a little bit. We get the expectations fully qualified name, which should be because of what we passed in. Oh crap. Wait, hold on. That's not right. The reason why I say that's not right is because you notice that we're saying build type here, and that is not what we want. Partial. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm going to say here, if is partial, else that. So if we're not partial, we're going to do this. We're going to say string, and then we will put that here. And then we also do that here, except we're going to do this, grab that up there, and then here we are not going to use that. Because we don't want those there, okay? So get type by metadata name. We don't want to do this. So we want to have string this. Oh, wait a minute. If it's partial, we get exactly what we want. Otherwise, if it's not, we do this. Okay. We can also throw that out here. What are you barking about? Why is that an unnecessary assignment? I don't get that. Why is that saying unnecessary assignment of a value to that? I don't understand that one. So here we get the type arguments. Here we're going to return the name, except we want strings expectations name. This can get thrown up here. And what we can say with expectations name is that's going to be equal to, oh God, get away, this, except again, and there would be no ID here. It'd be the flattened name Right, because you have to specify the name. We're not going to do that for you. So here when we return, we're going to say expectations name. Oh, wait a minute. No, I gotta, I have to say expectations name is equal to that, and then put that here. Okay. Now what's the next thing we're passing in? Name no generics. And so that would be, if we do it down here first, that's going to be this. Right. Because I did the wrong thing. Except here now we don't have that. Okay, and so then here we say expectations, no generics. And then the third thing is the fully qualified name, right? The fully qualified name is what I've already calculated here. I don't need to do this, right? Just that. And then the type namespace is the type that we passed in its namespace. Okay. God. I am sure that this is going to work the first time without any problems whatsoever. Okay, so now we've calculated all these names. If I go back into the mock builder, this now works as expected. Okay. Here I want to put the accessibility. So I want to say mock type accessibility. And we have unsafe here. We can still do that. Var type kind is going to be if the mock type. Ooh. Do I want to assume that you're always going to give me a sealed? If you give me a struct, it has to be, it's by default sealed. But if I want to have a class, I should also assume it's going to be sealed. Right? Type. Type kind. Class. Otherwise, it's going to be a struct. Because those are the only two that we care about. You either give us the class or, that. More to the point, it should be a seal class. And so that would cover this and cover that. Use unsafe puts a space in front of it. Okay, cool. Kind of a mixture of the two, but that's okay. They all derive from this. We put the namespace out there. We're going to put the expectations name here, which has it with... I think we're done. To do remove. Removed. Are there any more to-dos in here? Oh. I never removed those. Yeah, we'll come back to that later. The other ones were obvious. Okay. If I run this now against Rock's tests, this shouldn't have changed anything. Right? What did I do wrong here? Get expectations name. There's no argument that corresponds to required parameter is partial. So this would be true. And this would be false. Maybe the first thing to do is to actually try to compile the damn thing. What am I analyzing here? Yeah. So we need to needs to be handled differently if rock partial is used. And the analyzer, whoops, there we go. The analyzer here is saying analyze the attribute. Okay, if there's an attribute here. And what I want to do is say if, like mock model create, in both cases, this would be null. And then here, this would also be null. And I got to remember to handle make generation as well. Okay. Because that's important. But what I want to do here is to say, all I'm going to be doing is analyzing the rock attribute here. I also want to do this for rock partial because it wouldn't analyze the partial type. I guess I could do that. But what I really want to analyze is the thing inside of it. That's what we're grabbing here, is we're getting the mock type symbol and the build type, which is the same thing we get from rock attribute. I don't want them to inherit from the same thing. That gets kind of messy. I could, but I don't want to do that. So I could have an operation that says look at rock attribute, also look at this. But the thing is, these are both almost doing the exact same thing. So, like, I'd really want to find a way to share the code between the two. Analyze attribute, analyze partial attribute. I'll get to that later. Only down to 457 warnings, because, you know. Where is this? This is with rock attribute. We would not have an expectation here. Okay. And you do that, and that takes care of everything. Let's build the test assembly. That is not what I wanted. I wanted you just to say build tests. And I don't care about integration tests. in this case it would be null, right? Where are you here? Okay. Why are you... Why are you barking about all this stuff? Oh, we have some of these as well, I guess. Because again, this is just for the expectation thing is only for the type mock model that you do later. Again, it feels a little, but like, why does it Shift F6 should be build the current project? Why does it have all the integration stuff in there? Which bothers me. Mock model test. There. Now let's run our tests and see what breaks. Hopefully nothing does, but you never know. Because I haven't done anything with a rock partial yet. Give it time. Give it time. It takes time. God almighty. 183, 87 failed. Well, it's failing because it's not getting the right name there. So at least it's generating source. It's just something got off with the fully qualified name, I believe. So if I go back to... Is it in here? Yeah. What was this? I must have missed something when I did the fully qualified name. So that's one, that's two. The third one was the fully qualified name. Yeah, we were putting global in front. And now we're doing this. We were not putting global in front. Okay, that's what I was missing. At least that's one thing that's wrong. Global, global, global gym. And is that right? Do you do the... yeah, you're doing the type within the while. Okay. All right. All right. Well, let's... I mean, that was one thing that went wrong. Let's see. At least it was just a production of code error that I just didn't have global in front of it like I should have. Never said this was easy. Never said any of this was easy at all. We're down to 38 now. Okay, so now what's the problem? I don't want to go to the test. I want to see what the issue is. That don't look right. That don't look right at all. That is what we call a major malfunction. That's a name. That's a name no generics. It's a name fully qualified name, and that's the name space. Okay, so we must be using the fully qualified name. There must be, again, something I messed up in the translation. So if I go back here, say view history. No, not view history. Get Earth and modify. Wait. Oh. Oh. Mother effer. I just realized something. Okay. The actual name is the ID. Oh, okay. Okay. So in this case, the name gets the type arguments. A fully qualified name does not get this. It gets the type arguments. Okay. This is used to loop through to make sure we have a unique name. But then once we get down to here, we really want it to be so I think we want something like this. So when we get down here where it's not a partial, we're doing all this looping to finally say, okay, fine. We now will say it's the flat name, build type, expectations, ID, and then the type arguments. The tick count, we're only using here to get through the name, and then we never use it again. Okay. All right. And of course, what did I do wrong? Oh, this. Let's see if that gets us down to even less errors. Five failed. Okay. Naming generator tests. Okay, so the name is not getting the number either, right? I don't know if that refreshes when you do that. Yes. It should. The fully qualified name. They all get the ID. So why was that? I mean, I know why it's failing, because we're expecting it to be the name, and we wanted with generics. Okay, I think we should have we have the ID here. We don't use it up there, that's true. That's the only thing I can think of, is it not being in the same scope. That doesn't make a lot of sense, though, because it's the ID. We do have ID there, we have ID there, we have ID there. And so we originally make the expectations fully qualified name to say, well, we've got to look it up. And if it is null, we just fall out. And then we remake it with the ID, which it should be null. But what we're saying is, in this case, it should have been 2. Let's just rerun this one. Hey, which one is it? That one. I doubt that should have fixed it, but yeah, it still doesn't. Well, to the magic of the debugger. Okay, so we say F12. Oh, F10. Sorry. It's not a partial. That's true. So we say our name should be names, and then we say, does it exist? Oh, crap. I think I just realized what it is. The first time we go through... Wait. And... Wait, what? Yeah, I have a names namespace. I have a high handle. Create expectations. So self is the compilation. So there's got to be something different between these two. That shouldn't have anything to do with it. We get the tick over to tick counts. That's fine. Get the type arguments. The type is, and then we say global names. I handle create expectations, which we already have one named like that. Why would that be giving a problem? Because I get what it's doing now is it's saying it just falls through, and so ideas still know. It's not finding it now. What the hell? That doesn't make any sense. We would come in here and get the tick count. We get the namespace. Oh! Mother effer. Here is where we put the final global. We don't do it here yet. Oops. Because otherwise that doesn't actually get type of metadata name, at least that way it doesn't work. All right, now let's try this. Boom. How many times do I have to say you have to test your code? You can argue, are they integration tests? Are they unit tests? Are they functional tests? Are they end-to-end tests? Are they BDD, TDD, SUT? I don't care. Write tests. I would have been so screwed trying to figure this out without tests. You know, and that's what blows my mind is when people don't test their code. It's just how. See, now I got all of them passing. Okay, cool. So I could shut down startup again and do. Let's do that while I pontificate again about tests. So, yeah, I'm just stunned. And I get it. Sometimes people get on projects and people haven't been writing tests. Nobody writes tests. I don't know how you can ship production code without it. I truly do not understand that one at all. You are in a world of hurt without tests. Absolutely screwed without tests. So, let's see if everything builds now. I don't know if everything will because there might be some stuff in other projects that we're referencing. Yeah. Let's go this route because code, yeah. Okay. Sometimes I've noticed the output now in the error window of Visual Studio just gets wonky for lack of a scientific phrase. Okay, build. Yeah. So now we're going to run all the tests again. So this is also integration tests, which, again, I have not done anything with partials. So the whole point of this is to say all the paths that I just added should not have interfered with creating stuff the way it currently works. So that's good. I already can tell, unless I want to go for 3 hours or 4 hours tonight, which I don't, I'm not going to get this done. But at least I've made progress on it, which is good. Because that's another thing I want to do. Do perf test with class versus struct. Because why not? And then also update code gen test project to also generate the partial approach. Because I don't want to break that. Cool. All the tests pass. Let's run code generation. And this one will take a couple minutes, but that's okay. So the hope is here again that nothing should break. All the shim tests passed too, so that approach worked. Not the prettiest, but it works. It's really all I care about. Actually, what I might go back and refactor is the fact that you need the expectation names. But what you also need is the fact of, is it partial, and is, those types of things. So yeah, maybe keep it the way it is. That's fine. And again, all this is just because I thought of the fact of maybe I could have a configuration file that you're given a pattern, and I use that to create the name, and whether you use a namespace or not, whether I'm just like, you know what? The way to customize this is just to put a new attribute on a partial class. And then that defines the namespace it's in. It defines the name of the expectation class because that's what you're putting there. It just all works. And then you're responsible for making sure it's a partial. Whether it's sealed or not doesn't matter. Although I'm going to make it sealed. But I really should consider maybe allow non-sealed for partial scenario, so that if the target type isn't, if you're doing partials, then you look to see if it's sealed or not. If it's a struct, then it will be sealed, and then you don't put that in there. But you could at least say, do I want to seal these or not? I have no idea why you would want to do that. Probably really shouldn't let you do that. But if you make your partial class a static class, that won't work. And then that'll bark at you. The compiler will bark at you. And that's where I'm just like, the analyzer should just look at the type that you're targeting to mock, but it shouldn't look at the partial class that you're putting rock partial on. It shouldn't care about that. Just let the code generator do what it does, the source generator. And then if you made the partial a static, that's not what's going to be put in the partial that I create, and then you'll have a mismatch. It'll say, hey, this is supposed to be a static, and that's not a static. Okay, that's cool too. All right, cool. So that worked. So let's say git commit and 43, 42 added support for partial expectations, which is a weird way to say it. No tests just yet. We'll push that. Here's the big one. So here we want to have partial expectations tests. Okay. And we're going to start with something simple. What is simple? Not that. Well, can I write code? Can I write best code? I don't know. We want to say here public static. Test public static async task. Now this one's going to be a create. Create async. Just do that for now. I'm going to say var code is equal to. So let's. We don't want a sealed member. I don't care about sealed members. Fine, we'll just get rid of that. It's a public interface. I target. Void. Do something. That's all I care about. I don't care about the rest of this. Okay. But now what I want to do is say rock partial type of my target build type create public partial class target expectations stuff. Var generated code is equal to that, and then that's right, because we should see the name change now too. And so we're going to see that. We're going to see just one of these. And this is just going to be generated code. And so this should be I target partial rock create. Because you could still, like I said, you could put at the assembly level, you could put this up here and then do assembly and then have another one. Why? I don't know. But I'm going to just have the name of the type change just for the file name, just change slightly. Now this will fail one way or the other because we don't have the code that we compare against. What happens? Well, we're generating source. That's a good thing, right? Let's see what this is looking like. Ah, crap. I do that all the damn time. Oops. Didn't pick up it's supposed to be a partial. But it did pick up. No, that's bad too. So it. Oh, we're using. Oh, it didn't put a namespace here. Okay, I misread that. But we did not put in that it's a partial. Quick to the drawing board. So here. Yes. So we want to say public partial. How do we know it's a partial? Oh. So we would say var is partial. We would say mock type is partial. And if it is, we would say partial space. Otherwise, we say string.empty. Because then we stick this in here, and we'll say is partial. So if it's not partial, it just doesn't put anything in there. That works. Let's see what that did to this. Should actually change this to being a partial, probably, right? Partial. Oh, and we're not, you know... Ah, yes, we always say... Expectations type kind. We could say this dot expectations is sealed. In this case, it would always be true. This dot x. If this well, that's misleading. It's a little misleading. What I could say here is, if it is partial, then well, no, we know it's got to be partial. That's not the one. What we want to say here is if mock type is partial, then we want to do something. Okay, we'll just say that. Otherwise, it will be this. It will always be that. Now we want to look at this. The type kind. Type kind isn't enough. We need to know if it's... Yeah, we do need to know if it's sealed. We could say this expectations sealed, and we just make that an empty string. And then in this case, we would say yeah, we don't grab that there, but that's fine. We can grab it here. If it is sealed, we say sealed, otherwise string that empty. Now, the only time we do this is if we say type kind is equal to class. Because if it's a class, then we want to do this. Okay. Now here we'd want to say if it's a class, we're doing that. Okay, so if it's a class, we look to see if it's sealed. If it's sealed, we put in sealed. Otherwise, it's always going to be empty because the struct would not be sealed. Okay, so then here what we can do is say partial is unsafe. Okay, so now if the type kind hold on. I'm getting screwed up here. Accessibility. So let's see what the accessibility is. And then we say partial or not is unsafe, maybe or maybe not, and that's regardless. Type kind. If it's partial, then we want to look at mock type, expectations, type kind. Wait, did we? Sealed is what I'm caring about. So if it's a class, we would say class. Otherwise, we're going to say it's a struct. Oh. And then if it's not a partial, we would say it's a class. There. So that gets that. But the one thing we're still missing is right before class. We want to say is sealed. Right? And sealed. Huh. Do I really need to carry that around? I do, because I need to grab it from here. I wouldn't know what it is otherwise. Is sealed. If it's sealed. If it's sealed, we say it's sealed, otherwise it's false. And then is sealed here would always be true. So if it's a class, we look to see if it's sealed, otherwise it's false. We're always going to seal it in the non-partial case. Okay. All right. So now we can do same thing here, basically. Sealed. Mock type, expectations, is sealed. If it would be, we would say sealed, otherwise string out empty. There. All right. What do you do now? You fail. Why do you fail? Too much space. Why is there too much space? After class, oh, we're putting the space in there. Fine. It's not much, but it's working. I need more tests around this, but it's working, and that's a good thing. Now, so what did this just do? That basically just said that when I want to build a mock for this, that's where you're going to stuff all the stuff, and it just works because it's partial and it puts it together. If I would say sealed class here, fails. Is it because the ordering? The partial modifier can only appear immediately before class record struct interface. Oh, so you need to say... So the fact of it being partial, it has to be here. Yeah, now it passes. Okay, and then if we take this off, now that should work too. And if I said, you know what? I want you to make this a struct. All hell breaks loose. 10. Hey, there you go. Type expectations and interface list. Oh, okay. That just sealed the deal. Can't do that. It's got to be a class. Because I'm inheriting from this. I totally forgot about that. I'm such a moron. Okay, that's fine though. So the type kind doesn't matter. It's going to be a class no matter what. Now, does that mean we're setting it here, but I don't believe we're using it anywhere. We're only going to use it there, right? Go back to partial expectations. Yeah. Okay, so that actually... that solves a whole bunch of stuff here. There's no reason to do this. And we did that. No. Well, sorry. Yeah, I can grab... do what I always do. Keep my notes. Here. It's just a thing I've fallen into, is to keep a markdown doc of all the things that I'm doing. Panel make generation. We do that. What is it? 816? Maybe? Possibly? Could we? Okay, so what's rock make builder? They're similar, right? So we want to say the mock namespace now is this. Then we put the mock namespace, you write it, and the rest of it's the same. This is the mock one. Huh, that's interesting. We've never had to put unsafe on this. I've been doing too much. I don't know. We definitely want to get the mock type accessibility here now. Fine, it's going to be a is sealed. No. Okay, it's going to be a class. Is it partial? And that goes right before class, right? Yep. There. The expectations name doesn't inherit from anything, and the rest of it just falls through. What the hell are we using the type arguments for? Apparently nothing. Okay. A little bit less to do. And something I need to do is go through all the little, like, you know, this is no longer used here. This is no longer used here, because I'm sure there's some stuff like that. So now my partial expectations test. Let's make this a make. And we're going to say build type make. And I bet, well, I don't know how much. Yeah, it's going to change a ton. Let's. And now let's say make. What does this actually create? Oh, crap. Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. Rock create builder. What do we do down here for the name? We put right before that. We do that. There. See what that does now. Now we're getting some code. Now we're cooking with meth. Cool. That works too. Of course, the names suck because you really want to probably having the name, you know, this is the double, this is a, you know, a fake, this, whatever. I don't care. But that's the whole point. Totally up to you. Name it whatever you want. I think there's another thing we want to do, which is we want to say create in different namespaces. So this will be namespace mock target. And can you do that in a single file? Namespace expectations target. Oops. So now if I come into, I say namespace AA, go to public class BBB. You don't like that name, do you? Oh, you want to convert to file scope namespace. BBB. No, let's do CCC. DD. No, it doesn't. Okay, that's perfectly fine. I just wanted to make absolutely sure that that's okay. So now this will definitely be different. I believe that's what it's going to do. Why? Something. Oh, I know. That ain't right. That ain't right at all. Why is the name here? Fully qualified name. Oh. Oh, yeah, I just realized what it's doing. It's grabbing it from the mock type. But the whole point is, I'm saying it's in here. This don't matter. I want it to be in this namespace. Which... because the fully qualified name is going to have the global in it. We don't want that. But what we do want is generate file name, just strips it from a string. If it is, we're going to do something. Otherwise, what we're going to do is that. And then we stick that in here. Now, you may be saying, why this dot mock type expectations namespace is null? If it's null, then what we give is this dot mock type expectations name. But we give the generics. And then generate file name strips that out. It makes them, I think that's what generate file name does. Oh, bite me. Otherwise, what we do is we say dot that. And then we're going to do the same thing in make builder. Right. Okay. So then if we come to partial expectations test, that should not work. You're generating source now? No, you're not. Oh, that's right. That's my goof. What did I assume it's going to be up here? I think that's wrong. It should be this. Yeah, because it should reflect the name of the, well, if it's a partial, No, that's wrong. How right or wrong do you want to be? See, here's the thing that's going through my head is the file name. It's just a file name. It can be whatever you want. Does it make sense for the file name to reflect the type name that you're mocking or the name of the expectations class? Since what we were doing before didn't have the expectations name in the class, I would say the same thing. Now you could say also, well, put the name of the expectations in the file name as well. But the reason I don't want to do that is because then it can make the file name so long, max path issues, which I know that should be a dead issue at this point in life. But we really do want to make sure that we're handling that. So, or we're being aware of it. But we're putting the partial in there. I think I'm overthinking it. I think it should be the fully qualified name of the mock type. Not the name of the thing, because we've already got a pattern set in place. We're just putting partial there. That's a hint. And if you're going to be making a bunch of partials for the same mock type, why would you do that? That's kind of like, that's being silly. Don't do that. At least that's my thinking on this right now. So if you go back to partials here, this would be target. And in this case, it would be mock target is that what it does? I don't remember. Okay, are you generating source now? Yes, you are. What does that source look like? Look at that. Expectations target, expectations stuff. Do you compile now? You do. Beauty. Beauty miss. Okay, let's put that in there as a make. Make. And yeah, this is all going to be totally different. So now it'll be make. What do you generate this time? Code. What do you generate as code? My wife was manning the door tonight for Halloween, but we actually got snow today, of all things. So I don't know how many people we actually got to show up. I didn't hear the doorbell ring at all. I don't know if we got anybody. Yep. Cool. Did the right thing. Let's just run all the tests in here. Look at my list of things to do. So it looks like we got that done. And so I think we just got, well, what I should do is add integration tests. Integration tests. So what I'm going to do, if this passes, shut down, start up again, run all tests, run the code gen tests, commit the branch. Oh. Or not. Oh. Why did I switch those around? Because that's what it's failing on, right? It was unsafe sealed, and now it's sealed unsafe. But that can just be that, right? I know the partial has to be before the class, but the other things we're obviously doing before and it was just fine. Good. 0. Okay, so shut down. Start up again. Run all the tests. I could say run code generation test too while this is going, right? Yeah, might as well. Really tax my computer. Sad you lose a little progress bar at the bottom, but you see that all the tests pass. So I don't know if I've ever tried that, to say run test and then run this app. But oh well. I've thought of making this like a using like a test framework. There's some stuff that's going on with testing in .NET to make things like that you can actually package all your tests as an executable. The problem with this is that it's very dynamic, and so I don't know how I would be able to do that in a very clear way. I could use like a test case and say here's the assembly and here's like an alias if I need it. Possibly. Because then this would just run with all of the integration tests, and then you'd see, if it's a test case, you would see all of them, separated out and what's incorrect. Though reporting that might be a little ugly. So yeah, it's low on the list. I already have something that's in place, and this would take just as long as it feels under a test framework. If not, doesn't matter either way. So but I think we're doing well with this feature. I say that. Of course, it'd be interesting to see when we had integration tests, you got to do the analyzer thing, and then the code gen tests. I think, though, that would be pretty much it. Oh, I also, it's a small thing. Add test for rock partial. It'd be simple. In fact, I could add them right now if I wanted to, but I've been going for 2 hours, so I'm pretty much done. Once this finishes, I am complete. Well, complete enough with this. Here we go. All right, so git commit. Supports makes now more tests. All right, so that is it for this episode. I am going to stop with that here, and I will finish this out off camera. There's not that much more left to do. There's not much more left to do in terms of proving that this works. This is the big one. And when I say big, it's not even that big. I want to add integration tests to show just that this really does work the way I expect it to. And then if that's true, this is simple. This isn't that much work. This last one might be just some work to figure out how to get the code to be set up correctly such that when it compiles it for a given type, it works the way I expect it to. But I'm pretty, I'm feeling pretty good that I'm in a good spot with this and that this should be pretty much done. So, and update, change log. Yeah. And put in 9.0.0, not yet released. There we go. Because I'm not, it would be in the next release, and I don't plan on doing an alpha. I haven't heard anything back. Not that I got a lot of people to try the alpha out. I do, when I looked at NuGet, there are some people, I got NuGet for your NuGet to search for NuGet. There have been some downloads of it, which is kind of only 24, but kind of surprising. A little bit more on the 831. 79,000 still. Very, very not used much. Although I did speak at Iowa Code Camp this past Saturday, and I did show a little bit of rocks and source generators. And I got a couple people to come up to me to say, hey, like, I wish I would have known about this before. This looks really interesting. And another person said, I want to bring this back to my team and show them, because I think they're using N substitute or something like that. But I want to show them the numbers that I have. Specifically, if I go back to here, and this is based off a benchmark mocknet, but I couldn't wait for benchmark. The guy who runs benchmark mocknet isn't running these much anymore. So this is when I made something to do something that made it actually even quicker. And so you can see here, it's like 2 orders of magnitude faster than N substitute. And I think that's consistent. This is more like 1 order of magnitude, but it's also less memory. And again, you look at something like this and you're like, that's like not really doing much, it's not that big of a difference because it's nanoseconds. But like he said, we have tons of tests, we're using lots of mocks, which that could be a problem either. But he said, if we use something like this, maybe that shaves off more time. And so it makes our test run quicker. And I'm like, I can't guarantee that, but if you try it, let me know, because that would be interesting to see what you say. But in any case, I think we're good enough with this feature for now. So I'm going to stop the stream here. Thank you for watching. If you're still watching, if you watch this later, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Looking to get to 1,000 subscribers, really trying to hit that. So if you could subscribe, I would appreciate that very much. And with that, I am going to sign off. Thank you for watching, and I'll see